So first of all, they're changing my image and my voice partially to confuse you about this. The word sin backwards is nice, N-I-S. Being nice is not the same as being righteous. Proverbs 28:1. The wicked flee, though no one pursue, but the righteous are as bold as a lion. Now, let's look at Revelation 18. But before we do, I want you to realize that it's a perfect example with women shunning me, right? And we imagine what their parents would say. They say, hey, how's he going to take care of her if he's persecuted? But God's commands are to be loyal to him, not to worry about people taking care of you. Matthew 6 makes that clear. It says, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven. Don't worry about what you'll eat, what you'll wear, right? God knows you need these things. Be loyal to God and let it play out. One of God's main commands, in a sense, his only command, is to be loyal to God and not worry about how it plays out. I'm the only person on the planet doing the right thing, okay? So if a female was to date me, okay, and say she decided not to die with me, right, not to be screened out with me, not to go all the way and end up sharing my fate, and she goes back to her parents and they say, hey, you were dating this guy, you weren't supposed to do that, we're going to persecute you. If you live in a society that does that, you should not be concerned with whether or not I can take care of her. You should be concerned with how to make sure she dies an honorable death. She lives and dies with honor and doesn't reproduce, because that society is pathetically evil. Think about it. The worst thing that could happen to your daughters is that they don't obey God through me, because then they're at odds with God and I'll be sitting at his right hand and I'll have no choice but to send them to eternal punishment, and to them which much is given, much is expected. If they're attractive and they're using that beauty to follow their own path or uphold the enemy, what do you think should be done to them? If somebody gave, a pure evil army a nuclear bomb so they could abuse people and do evil things, shouldn't they suffer? How much power does an attractive woman give the enemy? That's part of why they forbid them to date me, because they don't want to render unto God anything that will help his cause. Revelation 18. After this, I saw another angel come down from heaven. He had great authority. So even if you don't believe that I'm Christ, you know that I'm from above and I have great authority. Because my works give away this, my argument, my works, my path, my aim. I am scrambled aim. Okay? And I'm the top martial artist ever. My top martial arts challenge is unparalleled. So what is my top martial arts challenge? Over 7 years, up to $4 million, they compensate me. $40,000 for less than 5 minutes sparring match in the park. Okay, when all the best people at sparring are not famous, they're not rich. Sniveling worms are famous and rich, not the best people at sparring. Okay, and what's my exact argument? Moral precision, focus, moral intensity. No one else even uses these words I've ever come across. Okay, so again, after this I saw another angel coming down from heaven. He had great authority, and the earth was illuminated by his splendor. Now, how would the heathen translate this? It's like the Illuminati, the church, the allowed churches, the allowed movements of the world. They use a fake Luciferian light and say that their arrogant Western kind of boarding school, kind of social club nonsense, and their theater game, their ritual madness, their religious ecstasy illuminates the world with their sexual energy, and a lot of it is pedophilia mixed in there in a kind of alchemical recipe. Despicable. That's why they changed my image to make it so I seem like them. But listen to what I'm saying. Observe what I'm doing, and you'll know that I'm God's son. This is how we know who has the Spirit or not. The one who does what is right is righteous. In 1 John, I believe it is. With a mighty voice, he shouted. Remember, I'm the one emphasizing moral might. They're emphasizing might of the American army or something, right? They're emphasizing scientific might. That's not moral might. That's not righteous might from God. They're emphasizing flesh-based might, weightlifting contests. That's not from God. Any knucklehead Satanist, demons are depicted as strong. That means nothing. With a mighty voice, a morally mighty voice, he shouted. That's part of why they're changing my voice. It says right here, with a mighty voice. Because they don't want you to hear me sound like a mighty person. Instead, they make me sound like a white Jew nerd or something. Okay? They make it so I sound like that. Whenever I say make me in terms of my voice or anything else, they're not making me do anything. They're trying to, but they're making it seem like. Anyway. Fallen is a Babylon the Great. She has become a dwelling for demons and a haunt for every impure spirit Okay, we'll stop right there for a second. What is spirit? In their own definition, it's a dominating characteristic. It's the essence. It's the seat of emotions. It's who we are. It's their innermost being. It's like the animating principle of your soul or something, if you have a soul. Okay, their spirit, the spirit we see in America and all these countries, is worldly. It's crony capitalism. It's communism. It's worldly. It's controlled opposition. Controlled by who? By the corporate state of the world. Okay? All these cultures that are allowed, that you see, if it's in high school, know for sure that it's of the world. The only otherworldly, the only transcendent culture that's here is mine and is from God, and it's called moral precision. And it doesn't allow for cheating me out of my right to lead. Think about it. Okay? So you people are, and look up demon, right? It can be a skilled performer. Going back to theater arts, Dionysus, right? The leopard of Revelations, Dionysus and Bacchus riding the leopard, the Bacchanalia, lynching people. They're rituals that all connect to these things. Lynching is simply a more precise projection of the demons that they live. Okay? Because 9 million people starve to death in the world. They do all kinds of horrible things. People are getting raped and all this horrible stuff as a result of their culture. Then the community comes together and lynches somebody or gang stalks somebody. It's a way of projecting that same spirit that causes all this horrible stuff to happen in the world. That's why the devil's called the prince of the world and offered Jesus the kingdoms of the world in the New Testament. All right, so where were we? She has become a dwelling for demons and a haunt for every impure spirit, a haunt for every unclean bird, a haunt for every unclean and detestable animal. For all the nations have drunk the maddening wine of her adulteries. Why were these people acting like they're nuts, lynching people? Because they're part of the cultures of the world that drank the maddening wine of the adulteries. And how many of these churches that we have today were back then, right? Baptist, Pentecost, Mormon, Jehovah's Witness, they were all there. Because they all drank the maddening wine of the adulteries of the beast. Satan is the god of this world. So what churches are established in this world? Churches of the beast. On some level, you all know that times 10. Think in terms of reproduction, the wine, the blood, the wine, and transmutation. You take mass and so on. The idea that they say is that you're taking the blood of Christ, but you're not. You're taking their Luciferian spirit that's allowed in their allowed church. You fucking Satanists. Okay, anyway, where was I? It's true with Islam and Judaism as well. Anything that's an established religion or an allowed spiritual movement with any significant following, and every other culture but moral precision, which only I have. And I know that because everyone else is cheating me out of my right to lead, because they're following their footsteps and their inclinations and the desires of their father, the devil, who was a rebel and a liar from the beginning and cheated me out of my right to lead from the beginning and cheats me still. My spirit, me, I'm the last. I'm the first and I'm the last. And people will have no way to walk in the way of righteousness along the path of justice because they'll have cheated me in a calculated manner with every culture in the world in rebellion. And no worthy person possible to continue to connect to God and to lead people. The kings of the earth committed adultery with her, right? The kings also represent the idols, right? Dagon, Baal, Chemosh, Nebo, okay? And all the other despicable deities, right? Hera, Asherah poles, Apollo and so on and so on. All these pagan deities, right? The fake forms of Horus and so on and Set and so on and so forth. And Set is simply Zeus's Egyptian equivalent. Jupiter is his Roman equivalent, and Baal is the Mesopotamian equivalent, Babylon and so on. Anyway, the kings of the earth committed adultery with her, and the merchants of the earth grew rich from her excessive luxuries. Baal is also a deity of settlers, right? Sailors and merchants, and storms and lightning. That's part of why it's connected to Zeus, so on and so forth. Anyway, all right. Then I heard another voice from heaven say, "Come out of her, my people." The righteous people, right? Isaiah, the wicked have no peace, so only the righteous is spirit, not flesh. So that you will not share in her sins, so that you will not receive any of her plagues. So remember, Proverbs 8:20. I walk in the way of righteousness along the path of justice. That's the way, that's the truth, that's the true life. So if you walk in the way of righteousness along the path of justice, does it lead you to be part of a culture that's allowed when it's fucking obviously and logically evil? Okay? No. It only leads you right to me. Seek ye first, seeking, see king, search, see ark. It leads you to me. Okay? Proverbs 16:12. Kings detest wrongdoing, for the throne is established the righteous. Proverbs 16:10. Okay, a divine verdict, God's verdict, is on the lips of a king. So what you should do is on my lips. People plan their own way. Read Proverbs 16 many times. People plan their own steps in life, but the Lord is the one who actually makes them move the way they do. Okay? So In other words, you can't truly be moving around the path of God unless the divine verdict comes from the King and he leads you to move through the path of God. Narrow is the way, not wide is the way.